पिकवतो रोस गाळवतो काणकोणीच्या झिंगाबाई झिंगा हेळवतो आंबो पिकवतो रोस गाळवतो काणकोणीच्या झिंगाबाई झिंगा हेळवतो फी गडाफी फी गडाफी दोये पिपळा तांबडे फुला गोपा दोन फातोर मार सुंदीरा दोये पिपळा तांबडे फुला गोपा दोन फातोर मार सुंदीरा फी गडाफी बेजारी येले ये तोरा सकाणू ओडेच रुपयानी पहिली हानू आताम सावडी वयताय पडबो ना इंगरा बोनू फाटफुडे साताय गोवात ना तुक लागोनू सावडी वयताय तुंबायरी सहनू गोरा एकल्या म्हाक दोवोनू आता वस्कोती आसा शेजार पासून नाय कोण हाविंगा तू तिंगा खबर मुजी घेतलो कोण संसरा ओळख नासलोली तुका येल कळलो न्हू तुझे मन पडलें तुज गोदोन ये दिल देवानू तुझी खबर घेतल गो दिसान दिस हांव येनू ताला बांगडी गान दी गोवंत ना बुती बानून संसरा ओळख नासलोली तुका येल कळलो न्हू तुझे मन पडलें तुज गोदोन ये दिल देवानू तुझी खबर घेतल गो दिसान दीस हांव येनू ताला बांगडी गान दी गोवंत ना बुती बानून चलोन हांव तो कहला तुझे खबरे नागोन येयला सारके रीत झालं मुगो देवानाम किती फाव केला चोच्या वेगळ्यान दिसत गोराम घे उजवाडान बोला नको वाजूड मूड.
Hello and good evening. On behalf of our patrons, Dipti Dattaraj and Ishita Salgaonkar, Sunaparanta welcomes you to the special discussion titled The Kunbi Sari in collaboration with the Goa Heritage Action Group, whose work is dedicated to preserving and promoting Goan culture and heritage. Today's event brings together eminent voices from the industry and highlights their various revival projects, the future vision for the sari, and how this will impact the Gauda community and Goa. Moderated by architect Preeta Sardesai, our panelists today are Poonam Pandit, the textile designer, Dr. Rohit Falgaonkar, historian and researcher, and advocate John Fernandez, cultural activist who is working with the Gauda community. We will now begin with the dance performance by members of the Gauda community. Thank you.
Gauda community has some special features. Now, Gauda women have a main stage at the time of Dalo festival. And Dalo festival is being played on the traditional mand once the harvest season is over. And basically, Dalo festival is to glorify the Mother Earth for the harvest that is given by the Mother Earth. Now, see, Dalo is being played by, in one row there can be 10 women, other row can be 10 women, but we have brought only 4 women. So, whatever applicable to 4 women, we will be playing, and some Gauda song which are sung in the Iturmej, there will be played. So, now here we will playing Ambo Picoto.
आंबो पिकवतो रोस गाळवतो काणकोणीच्या झिंगाबाई झिंगा हेळवतो आंबो पिकवतो रोस गाळवतो काणकोणीच्या झिंगाबाई झिंगा हेळवतो फी गडाफी दोये पिपळा तांबडे फुला गोपा दोन फातोर मार सुंदीरा दोये पिपळा तांबडे फुला गोपा दोन फातोर मार सुंदीरा फी गडाफी बेजारी येले ये तोरा सकाणू ओडेच रुपयानी पहिली हानू आतां सावडी वयताय पडबो ना इंगरा बोनू फाटफुडें जाताय गो वत ना तुक लागोनू सावडी वयताय तुम भायर सोनू घरा एकल्या म्हाक दवोनू आतां वस्कोती आसा शेजार पासून नाय कोणू हांविंगा तूं तिंगा खबर म्हजी घेतलो कोणू संसरा ओळख नासलोली तुका येल कळलो न्हू तुजें मन पडलें तुज गोदोन हें दिल देवानू तुजी खबर घेतल गो दिसान दीस हांव येनू ताला बांगडी गान दी गो वतना बुती बानून संसरा ओळख नासलोली तुका येल कळलो न्हू तुजें मन पडलें तुज गोदोन हें दिल देवानू तुजी खबर घेतल गो दिसान दीस हांव येनू ताला बांगडी गान दी गो वतना बुती बानून चलोन चलोन हांव तो कहला तुजे खबरे नागोन येयला सारके रीत जालो मुगो देवान आमी किती फाव केला चोच्या वेगळ्यान दिसत घराम गे उजवाडान बोला नोक वाजूड म्हूण माताली शिहीला देवान तोंड तेंचे बांदिला तुमी वचत पासून जायतें दूख भोगिला चेडो जायत पासून काळीज मुजे हुशेन बोला माता बो मातये बुडकुल होळाय तेजे वताय कोयला आबान तिंगरा बन सांग की तू कामत बोड कोयला आबा आपयलं म्हूण सांग चोच्या हांवूय आवडेला नोशबा पोलतळी आसली हारी नोशबा हारी कोणे दिला माता बो मातये बुडकुल होळ्या तेजे वताय कोयला आबान तिंगरा बन सांग की तू कामत बोड कोयला आबा आपयलं म्हूण सांग चोच्या हांवूय आवडेला नोशबा पोलतळी आसले हारी नोशबा हारी कोणे दिला संसरा राबोन स्वर्गारपणाय पेलो दिते पेटनाय नासले हारी तेलो येवो देवाने मिस्ता आमचे गायले हेलो संसार वयजे दोना मुखार मुगे चेडये कोलो संसरा ओळख नासलोली तुका येल कळलो न्हू तुजें मन पडलें तुज गोदोन हें दिल देवानू तुजी खबर घेतल गो दिसान दीस हांव येनू ताला बांगडी गान दी गो वतना बुती बानून संसरा मुनीस मेळणार चेड्यो तुजे काळकू तेक लागोन देवान पोरुतून धाडलो तुगे आवो गे जालो देखून एकलोच झिलो मुखार वचोन उरल्या सोबोचे आमी गे कारनू वालो संसरा मुनीस मेळणार चेड्यो परपळलो तुजे काळकू तेक लागोन देवान पोरुतून धाडलो तुगे आवो गे जालो देखून एकलोच झिलो मुखार वचोन उरल्या सोबोचे आमी गे कारनू वालो माझे गे सुप नुयचे वड्याचे नुयते वड्याचे गागर चुड्याचे सुप वडकी लेगा देवा गागर चुड्याचे सुप वडकीचे फी गडाफी फी गडाफी फी गडाफी फी गडाफी फी गडाफी आत बायका तोशाची कात आम चेडू हेळो गेलो थिंग जाली रात गो थिंग जाली रात आत बायका तोशाची कात आमी चेडू हेळो गेलो थिंग जाली रात गो थिंग जाली रात फी गडाफी फी गडाफी फी गडाफी फी गडाफी हांव इतलें जानाद नेसता म्हणून चेड्याचे फुटले दोळे म्हजो मोग करूंक मेवना म्हणून पिकार जाले थोडे आमचे पासत खुर्सार मेलोय तीन मारून किळय आनी फोट काडल्यार सत सांगता आयकात रे चेडे असोच कोणूच म्हणचो ना पयल्यार मोजे जेताक कातां बी सगलें पोल जावन नेर उरला शेताक पापाक सांगून हांव तुका करतेली नाटक कोणाक शक्ती ना गो बाये हात नाव कोटाक असोच कोणूच म्हणचो ना पयल्या हरी मजे जेताक आतां बिही सगले पोहल जावन नेर उरला शेताक पापाक सांगून हांव तुका करतेली नाटक कोणाक शक्ती ना गो बाये हात नाव कोटाक तूं हांगा सोल्लो वचो कोरी हांव तुजे असल्याक मेवना हांव रेस्पेताचें चेडून तुका रेस्पेत दिवपाक कोवना रातचें तूं भायर सोदता म्हाका 8 सुमार मेवना नालाकांतले हुंय काबार जाली होकोत उरल्या सोडना हांव तुजे भाशेनी भोटे न्हय रे मॅट्रीक केल्या पासू तूं नोफोर चेडो म्हणून आख्या गांवांत जाला दासू आनी चेड्याक तुमकां सांगो म्हाका येता रे आसूं आनी करमल गांठार चडना येगे MSc बसू निकलो दोंगरार वयच्याक जबर कुस्तार जाता आमी नांवारा सुसेग मेळटा निकलो दोंगरार वयच्याक जबर कुस्तार जाता आमी नांवारा सुसेग मेळटा आतां तांदूळ करूं वच गो शेनवारा दिसा सोमना शेनवारा पागमेत मेळटा बाबू फिलीप आनी लोका सोदूं भोंवता ते जय बरबरी आलेस आसा बाबू फिलीप आनी लोका सोदूं भोंवता ते जय बरबरी आलेस आसा आंबल्या तूं लोक जायतो मेळ गो तेका देस्पेसा पोसतो पयले दिता दुड वापासत गीत्या बिलगो सुबेज वर तूं कहा गाडी ये पाव गो जाल गो बेस्ट वडका नाका पावचाल 6 दाटोलो तुका दुड वापासत गीत्या बिलगो सुबेज वर तूं कहा गाडी ये पाव गो जाल गो बेस्ट वडका नाका पावचाल 6 दाटोलो तुका चोच्या आपूर बाय दिसत तुंग साणून वसना का महाकहा चोच्या आपूर बाय दिसत तुंग साणून वसना का महाकहा निकला आनी बरोबो वतो तू कहा सपना मानरेर तूं दिश्टी पडटा मुज्यो मुस्कोऱ्यो तूं माना कहा पयली पंदा कळ्ळो ना तूं कहा मुज्यो मुस्कोऱ्यो तूं मानाका पयली पंदा कळ्ळो ना तुका राती लेगून जेच्या येयनाय गा एकल्या बिरात दिसता म्हाका बिना काळीज वयर काणाका बर बगीन हांव भोंवडायतो तुका बिना काळीज वयर काणाका बर बगीन हांव भोंवडायतो तुका इहा बर गोरव सान तूं सांगनाका आवय मारूं येतोली म्हाका नातोल तूं भुरगीं जपा बायल कित्या आवो बिता आतां तूं मुज बारा बोयो गो इस्कॉल शिकयत तुका दोगांय हुंडीर वचोन जायते शिकेल्या कोण इचाता मुगे रांद पिणी कोतोलो तुका दातोल तूं भुरगीं जपा बायल कित्या आवो बिता आतां तूं मुज बारा बोय दोगांय हुंडीर वचोन जायते शिकेल्या कोण इचाता मुगे रांद पिणी कोतोलो तुका
देव बरें करूं इनासीन फेर्नांदीश बाय ब्लाजिया फेर्नांदीश बाय कोयसांव फेर्नांदीश बाय आनी कात्रीन कार्वाल्यो बाय देव बरें करूं
चलोन हांव तो कहला तुजे खबरे नागोन
गावडो हांव कुणबी हांव माड हांव पिपळ हांव म्हजी पाळां आनी मुळां खोल भुंयेंत रोमलाय गा I quote from Manohar Rai Sardesai's poem Gaudo, a celebration of Goa's own people and their deep-rooted identity. Good evening, my dear friends, and thank you for being here. Today's evening is indeed a celebration of the Nis Goinkar, the Gauda community. And the beautiful performance that we just watched has undoubtedly set the mood. we dedicate this evening to their traditional attire. The kapad, also known as the Kunbi sari, which for long has been a symbol of the Gaudas. A few decades ago, the verdant landscape of Goa was dotted with reddish hues. The farm hands, clad in bright checkered saris against the swaying palms and ripening fields, remained an iconic representation of the state of Goa, until this image slowly faded away. The checked weave was seen only on occasions and on the stage. And then, a few years ago, there was a resurgence, but in a completely different context, across the boundaries of the community, the state, and the cultural milieu. Much to the excitement and interest of handloom enthusiasts across the country. So, to take us through this exciting journey, we have with us this evening a brilliant panel of speakers. Ms. Poonam Pandit. Poonam. Ms. Pandit is a weaver, textile artist, and designer. She has been working for over 12 years with the last family of traditional Goan weavers. She is the face behind the Kunbi Sari revival, launched under the Wendell Rodrigues label, which took the word Kunbi into the world of haute couture. Her own label, Kalakar, is committed towards conserving Goa's valuable heritage of handloom weaving. She works with educational institutes, craft and design organizations, and artisanal textile groups across the country. Welcome, Poonam. Thank you for coming. Our second speaker, Advocate João Fernandes, is the voice of the Gauda community. A multifaceted personality, besides being a practicing lawyer, he is a cultural activist, an agriculturist, and a writer. He is instrumental in reviving the Intrus festival, a tribal festival of Ambauli Kepe. He is the founder member and president of the Adivasi Sangatna, and is instrumental in releasing their annual bulletin, Amcho Ekvot. He is the president of Niz Kolakar, a cultural organization which is continuously striving to keep up the traditions and customs of the community. He has written a book on the heritage of Gaudas called Goinso Mur Awaz, and released a documentary called War, based on the wedding rituals of the community. He has contributed to dailies like Herald, Navin Times, and Sunaprant. Thank you, Joambab, for accepting our invitation. Our third speaker is Dr. Rohit Falgaonkar. After graduating in computer science, his inner passion for heritage and culture made him pursue his master's in history. He was awarded a PhD by the University of Pune on his work entitled Iconography of Goa. Having a vast teaching experience in various educational institutes in Goa, he will soon be joining a government college as a professor of history. He is a sought-after speaker on topics of Goan history and heritage in various educational institutes and cultural organizations. He has presented several papers at prestigious forums across the country and is a member of various state committees handling issues on heritage and culture. He received the Madhvi Sardesai Yuva Shikshak Puraskar for his contribution in the field of culture. His book, Goan Bronzes, has been approved by the Department of Art and Culture and is awaiting publishing. A few years ago, Dr. Falgaonkar questioned, why does Goa not have its own state textile? His research into the Kunbi weave and subsequent efforts in replicating the old samples he found in his field study has brought the checkered beauties back in the public domain under the banner of Goa Adivasi Parampara. Thank you, Rohit, for being here. And now let us start with the discussion that all of you have so eagerly been waiting. We're going to have a question that we will address to each speaker. They will be taking about 9 to 10 minutes to answer that. Poonam, kindly take us through your journey of making the first revival Kunbi Sari. And what the audience is keen to understand this evening is How does your product get described as a Kunbi sari? Thank you.
I came to Goa in 2009 for a 3-month project with well-known designer, late Wendell Rodrigues, with a brief to find out about the Kunbi sari and the handloom weaving in Goa. I started contacting academicians, historians, writers, researchers, journalists, and government organizations that Wendell pointed me towards. I reached out to the Government Craftsman Training Center at Newji Nagar, which had a handloom training unit in Arambol, and explored the possibility of weaving the sari with them. There was limited help they could provide, and they further put me on to institutions in Karnataka. On realizing that there weren't any traditional sari weavers left in Goa, we planned to set up a small handloom training center to revive the weaving. Wendell had a space next to his tailoring workshop in Kolwale, where he said that the looms could be installed. Meanwhile, I continued my search for the elusive sari on ground. The only hands-on information I had was from a small craft document compiled by a group of students several years back. It had old photos of a full-fledged weaving workshop with Kunbi saris being woven on handlooms. It was run by a lady called Leela Shettigar in Bastora. When I arrived at the place, I was told by the people there that the lady passed a while ago and her daughter sold the looms and settled in Mangalore. It felt like I had reached Goa 15 years too late. I came across Mr. Ranganathan Kamath, who wove saris from 1938 to 1973. He had a flourishing weaving unit in the heart of Kandalim with 16 hand looms to weave Kunbi saris in cotton and in silk, which is the viscose silk. He spoke proudly of his handloom heydays, of international sources for buying threads back in the day, of unbelievably low-cost saris, and of the Kunbi and Gowda women wearing the cotton sari daily while keeping the silk ones for occasions. He gave me 2 precious cuttings of his personal Kunbi sari swatches to analyze the weave and the construction, and the type of looms and dobby machinery required to make these. He directed me towards another weaver by the name of Mr. Lakshman Shettigar to check if he had any existing looms. They used to be fellow weavers, he said, during the handloom days. I met Lakshman Shettigar in Bastora. He was old and frail then, and I could hardly communicate with him. But it was heartwarming to see that in spite of the big house his family lived in, he chose to dwell in the room which had his last loom that he had retained from the multitudes that he used to possess. He was happy to meet me and conveyed that after he passes, I could have his loom, which was in very good condition. I could not find out if he was connected to Leela Shettigar or to Ruskin, another Bastora weaver I had come to hear of. I have to admit it frustrated me during my research sometimes that much of the information got lost in translation. Through Professor Alita Sakira, student Mozina, I met with the ladies from the Gowda community in Velli, which was South Goa, the original wearers of the indigenous drape. They graciously left their work in the fields to pull out their saris from their trunks and donned it for me as well. I documented the step-by-step wearing of the sari in Detli style, and which Wendell later went on to sketch for his book Moda Goa. On analyzing the construction of the sari, I found it was to be much thicker and it had wider checks than the sari cuttings which I had got from Mr. Ranganathan Kamath. I hired and analyzed a few saris from an old Natikar in Mapsa, who was a traditional costume provider for theatre and carnivals. He had a collection of vintage Gowda saris, and they too were thicker weaves. The first time I visited Babu Rao Babaji Tirve, also known as Kaka, at his village in Paliye Perne, my heart soared as I heard the sound of the loom coming from the direction of his home. I had arrived at the doorstep of the last practicing traditional weaving family of Goa. There was a pancha and a kasti being woven on old looms. Kaka learnt weaving from his father and passed on the knowledge to his sons. The demand for these weaves had been waning, and most of the looms were sold for firewood. At that time, which is 12 years back, Kaka was 73, he recognized my respect for his ancestral profession, gauged my knowledge of weaving, and I was allowed into the weaver's world. I would visit them every day to study and document their process. It was the weave of the traditional pancha, in which we went on to make the iconic Wendell Rodrigues Kunbi sari. To briefly explain the weave of the pancha and the making of the traditional multi-purpose comfort cloth of daily utility. It is a soft, absorbent, pervious, mesh-like weave, perfectly suitable for the tropical coastal climate. From being made as an offering to the local old world deities to be worn as a wraparound or slung around the shoulder and used as a valo, the humble weave even finds its way into the kitchen as a sieve. Singles count, untwisted threads lend the fabric its softness and absorbency. It takes passion and skill to weave hundreds of these without breaking. Starching with wheat flour gives resilience to these threads when stretched on the loom and undergoing the weaving process. Every single strand that constitutes the fabric is touched by hands and handled with precision and care. After a discussion on weaving possibilities with Wendell, I sought Kaka's agreement to make new designs in his traditional weaves. Having gained confidence in my ability, he agreed to go ahead. We started weaving scarves and dupattas, and after many months of R&D, finding sources for raw material, and visits to natural dyeing units in Savantwadi, conceptualization, experimentation, ideating, sampling, we went on to create a beautiful collection of contemporary saris by Wendell. Kaka and I developed our own weaving language and tools through which I explained and he interpreted the designs. Referring to the directory of weaves, textures, patterns and techniques we created, Wendell sketched out the beautiful sari design in which he incorporated Kunbi style lines, checks and ikat. I sourced equipment from Belgaum to weave the required 45-inch width of the sari, worked out the technical details, the weaving pattern on a graph, tied the pattern along the length of a string as long as the sari to simplify the designs for Kaka. I stood by him as he wove the sari, thread by thread. I was his helping hand and even his eyes, while watching out for broken threads and doing quality control. We worked hard to meet the crucial deadlines for the Wills India Lifestyle Fashion Week, the show in Delhi, where the saris would be showcased under the Wendell Rodrigues design label. We wove not just the saris but fabrics in manjistha and guava leaf green, iron ore black and indigo blue. On the narrow width loom, we wove striped fabrics for shirts and kurtas. The day came, I was given a ticket from Wendell's office to fly from Goa to Delhi to watch the fashion show. Jasleen Dhamija, historian and curator of Indian costumes in the best museums of the world, opened the show with a passionate speech on the weaving we were doing and how important this sari was to Goa and India. Wendell walked on to the ramp at the show finale into a standing ovation. Our sari put Goa back on the weaving map of India. This was 2010. This was the first sari woven in possibly half a decade. Quoting Wendell's words in an interview with journalist Nicole Suarez in January 2010, start quote, "There are no traditional Kunbi sari weavers weaving anymore in Goa. What we are doing is using their sari as an inspiration, but fusing it with modern Wendell Rodrigues and Goan aesthetic. It has been my dream to revive the weaving tradition of Goa. The efforts by a few official organizations have been worthy, but need energizing. So on my own, I employed Poonam Pandit, a weaver and textile designer, to begin a program. She located a few weavers and discovered an old man who began to weave in a Goan style the ideas I have in mind to create a Goan fabric woven and made 100% in Goa. It pained me to see that Gujarat has its Bandhani and Patola, Orissa its Ikat saris, Kerala its Mundu. In fact, every state, including small states like Nagaland, have a rich tradition of weaving. In Goa, we have nothing. Visiting dignitaries are offered a Kashmiri shawl, which is shameful. So I decided to dedicate, this is Wendell's words, the next few years to revive the Goan weavers and create a sari based on the Kunbi sari. It will not be Kunbi, but it will have their sari as the main inspiration. After all, that is the only truly Goan sari we have. We began this project in September 2009. I told Poonam we would do a 3-month study and get the first fabric underway. I'm delighted with the results, but I need to make it more Goan, more minimal, and like I did with the Wendell Rodrigues clothes, I would like to put the flavor of Goa into the weaves so that it gets its own Goan hologram and identity. I want Goa to have its own legacy of fabric and weaving. That is my final ambition, and a legacy I want to leave for this state which I love so much. Poonam is someone I trust, and she's a great weaver herself. I knew when I took her on that she would deliver. I'm a hard taskmaster and a perfectionist, but she appreciates that, I think. I want to set a boundary of aesthetics such that our Goan weave is recognized not just in India but worldwide. To achieve that, Poonam needs my mind as much as I need hers. Together we can give Goa its Kunbi sari in a new avatar. That's the end of the quote. The sari was highly appreciated and worn by eminent people like Priyanka Gandhi, Sheila Dikshit, Jasleen Dhamija, Laila Tayabji, Jaya Jetli, Nandita Das. In Wendell's words, the Kunbi collection remains my most satisfying collection to date. I treasure the letters Sonia Gandhi and Pratibha Patil wrote, appreciating the efforts and the contribution the sari made to Goa and India. The first collections of the hand-woven Goan saris and garments were proudly up for sale at the Eco Goa Room Wendell Rodrigues Retreat and Style Studio in Kampal. The saris were eventually flying off the shelves, and we had to find weavers in Mangalore and Gadag to meet the demand. Meanwhile, our proposal to the Ministry of Higher Education for some funds got approved, and I facilitated the setup of 2 handlooms at the Goa Home Science College in Kampal to train students in weaving. The 3-month project that stretched to about a year and a half finally came to an end. On February 2011, Wendell gave me the responsibility of being the sole torchbearer to carry on the Kunbi weaving. I was no longer his employee. I continued to work closely with the weavers and created my own label Kalakar to provide a new market for the weaves and kept the old looms running. This gave me a soulful reason to stay back in Goa, the place I had grown to love. The project with Wendell gave me the opportunity to experience very closely the culture and lifestyle in a quintessential old Goan village, and I was touched by the warmth and inclusiveness of the weavers' family. Alongside, I worked as a consultant at the Home Science College and invested that income in keeping Kalakar afloat. I taught creative weaving to the students at the college and designed fabrics and saris on the loom with a master weaver brought from Karnataka. The funding received by the college typically kept falling through as the administration and the government changed. No students could be trained to weave the traditional sari. The weavers at Palyam and I continue to weave together to preserve the only traditional weaving method still alive in Goa, while experimenting with materials and techniques to create limited run scarves and fabrics of exquisite quality and authentic design. Alongside, we make small runs of the pancha and kasti for the diminishing local market demand, which is overtaken by cheap power loom imitations and changing choices of attire. The products are sold online and at select boutiques. Kaka kept weaving for many years till he suffered an unfortunate paralytic attack, after which he had to stop. But his sons were motivated because of my consistent efforts, and they have taken up the weaving. The journey I started with Wendell is still going on. We will soon be setting up a new WOP to weave beautiful contemporary saris in the Goan weave. Please extend your support towards encouraging the last family of practicing weavers to continue this tradition. Place orders, collaborate, contribute, buy our scarves and fabrics, and let's all hope that Kaka's grandson will be inspired in continuing his ancestral profession.
Thank you, Poonam. That was indeed a soulful journey, and thanks for sharing it with us. So our next speaker, Dr. Rohit Palgaonkar. Dr. Rohit, we would like to know from you the history of this weave, besides your journey into replicating what you found on the field. Would you be able to share a bit of the history of this weave and your findings, other interesting findings through your fieldwork? Thank you.
Before I would go to the history, I would like to sing a small song, since this beautiful performance started and that clicked in my mind. John Bob would be knowing it. It goes like this. तांबडे कापडाची आंबाडी दे गो आम्ही दोघांनी मारिया गो लागो काळे केसाची मानयेर हाती उदकांनी बोलल्या शिरंगाची गाठी सकाळी उठोन गो कोलगांव वयता पासूय न्हय तो कोण सकाळी उठोन गो कोलगांव वयता पासूय and it goes on. This is from Kepe. If you go still south in Kankona, you will find आंगार कापड गो तांबडे पोपयाचे गो तांबडे पोपयाचे आंगा केसार हाती गो काळी तांबडी फुलांची गो तांबडी फुलांची and it goes on, you know. I don't get the lyrics now. You know, my entry into this, I'm not a fashion designer as Poonam is, but basically how I got into it is Khedekar Bab and I, we were going from one place to the other just to check out, study the culture which is diminishing, the Mands, this beautiful culture what you saw here is almost coming to an end, it has ended, the Mand has come to an end. I'm talking about the Christian Gowda community Mand, and you know, we were trying to document it, and we reached a place in Salset, and then there was this dance performance which was called as Danla Hel, where the men dressed as women. So it was one lady, one gent, holding sticks in their hand and performing. Unfortunately, the dance is, they don't perform the dance anymore. Nobody knows the steps anymore. It is only there in my head because I had seen it long time back on the Mand. So when we went there, this old lady was sitting and Khedekar Bab said she was there. Vinayak Khedekar Bab said she was there when the Danla Hel would happen. So when we went to her, she was very old. She said, "आज सगळे काबार जालते बाबा आणि काय ना आता हिंगा दांडला हेळूय ना आणि काय ना." So there were 4 of these elderly people who came to us and said, "आम करपा जाता आज थोडे जाणा ती थोडे जाणा I know a few steps and she knows a few steps. So but आमकोडे कापड नाही." So this word of his or hers, you know, she also said, "आमकोडे ती कापड नाही आणि तू कितकोन आमकां व्हर म्हणटा स्टेजीचेर हे नाल्ला हेळ आनी कित कर म्हणटा आमकां." So from there my journey began. कापड नाही, or we don't have those saris anymore. So what happened to them? So let me start digging the past. For a stopgap arrangement, we said आमी कापड available करता तुमकां, तुमी तो परत तो revive करा. Khedekar Bab and Khedekar Bab is, I should say, I want to salute him. You know, we went to Belgaum, we went to Hubli, just to look out for looms. For 2 days we were traveling. At that age, you know, I really salute that man. And I was driving, and the whole journey we were talking about how to get this back. At that time, handloom, powerloom was not in my head. It was only that we need to revive the dead culture of Goa, which they told us that there's Zaina and Zalyare amkoda kapad nahi. So this was ringing in my mind. And finally, we got hold of a person who was into powerloom big time. Now we can't sell saris. He agreed. He said, "If we give you this many saris, what are you going to do with it?" So finally, Khedekar Bab went to a person in Madgaon, Karo by name. He's a cloth merchant. He said, "I'll buy the whole, that taga, and you'll have to send customers, because I can't keep it with me." Because whatever was available in Madgaon till now and was sold as Gowda saris were actually not even replicas. There were some saris which are made in Raichur, which has a green border, a golden border, and some checks, and they are of, I think, polyester or nylon, some viscose material it is. So we tried to make it very close to the traditional checkered Gowda sari, because I had a thing in my mind that only one type of sari was existing, that is traditionally checkered, that red checkered one. So we got that whole thing and we tied up with Karo. Karo said, "Enough, I can't take it anymore because there are very few buyers for it, because whichever groups we had contacted, they did not want any more." So now we were stuck. And finally one fine day, I get a call from him and saying that, "मैं आपके घर भेज रहा हूँ." कारो ने बोला है नहीं चाहिए. And I find the whole set of 60 saris in my house. I'm staring at him. I'm staring at that person who's delivering me, because he had come from Hubli. And when I opened the bundle, there was a huge pile in my room. Everybody is looking at that, and I'm also looking at my family members and wondering what I have done. I don't know how to get off this mess now. And that is the time when I decided that let us start digging into the history. These not just Christian Gauda wore these saris, even the Hindu Gaudas, the Hindu tribes wore this sari and subsequently gave it off, stopped wearing it. And the Christian Gauda community continued to wear it. And that is why I salutes to these ladies or the community who kept the tradition alive of wearing this checkered sari, till a few years back. It was their regular outfit, a regular dress. And these words, the sari is so much culturally, inside the culture. You find the reference of the sari in their folk songs, you find the reference of the saris in their dhalo songs, or in their, sometimes even in their sayings. Okay, so that kapod means a sari. And especially, there were 3 types. One is muga. Maybe it was made from muga silk, I don't know, but they call it muga, mugi kapda. Second one was ambadechi kapda, ambadea suta kapda. John Bob must be knowing, or I don't know. Ambadea suta kapda. And later on, when everything stopped, they had something called as a salapuri kapda. Now, what is this salapuri? I also do not know. So I asked the lady to say it twice, thrice. Then I came to know that it is solapuri. So these checkered saris, were very much in vogue at that time and worn by all the communities. Only thing, the combination, the border and the checks differed. In case of the Goa, or if you even go to South India, you will find the checkered material highly valued. If you look at any vintage photos where the ladies are posing in black and white now, you can find them in Mamai Kamat's house, or many other elite families have these photos. You'll find they are wearing checkered saris. The border varies. Okay, and another thing is these saris have a pallu which goes with the. It is not a separate. It does not have a separate color. Okay, like you'll have the pallu having stripes, but the color of the body continues. If you see the other saris like Ilkal or Hubli saris, when the pallu starts, it changes the color. The body color doesn't continue anymore. Okay, so this was one of the best part of this sari. Another thing is it had 2 pallus, and tradition of having 2 pallus is simply because that if one pallu could be, the sari was worn for regular use by using one pallu, because the pallu came in front, and then they would reverse it. So this was the utility of that sari. History, again tracing back, I even tried to find out whether organic dyes were used in Goa. So it's a big no. Organic dyes were never used in Goa. Traditionally, when the weaving would happen, they used dyes which came from Macau, and the cotton came to the doorstep of Goa because of the Portuguese. And the weavers who initiated this checkered weave were Shettigars from Mangalore. So they kindled. Of course, there were pitlooms also in Goa. There are references. There is a letter which I found where the weaver makes a reference of pitloom. Okay, but then subsequently says the pitloom stopped. Panji, there were looms next to Mamai Kamat's house. There were looms in Kandoli. There were looms in Moira. Okay, not just weaving this, but also the Nauwari sari. Okay, and this sari died a sorry death. I'll come to that later on. So if you just look at the the beautiful character of the sari is it's very beautiful. Again, why then somebody asked me why blue, why not black, and why not green, and why not yellow? I have never come across a green sari. I don't know the reason for it behind it. Okay. Secondly, black sari came much later on. Traditionally, it was only red and shades of red later on, and then blue. If you go to ask what was the condition maybe before the Portuguese came, where there were chemical dyes. There were no chemical dyes when before the Portuguese came. So perhaps they were using these organic colors, which are earth colors, red and blue, maybe indigo, I don't know. Subsequently, their blue color was, stereotyped as a color which was a mourning color for death, representing death. There's one version which I came to know in a village in Salsif. They said the initially blue color was also worn, the purple color was also worn. But when the Portuguese, tried to enforce that no, you have to wear a black, and black was not accepted by the Indians at that time very easily. So that for them, the blue color signified black. आज सुद्धा तुम्ही चालल्या म्हणटा ते काळे कापड म्हटले. सो ते काळे कापड म्हणटात, निळे कापड म्हणपाना ती. सो काळे which is very close to dark, काळे which is very close to black, that is blue, dark purple or indigo is considered to be not a very good color. So this was one version. Version. Secondly, when this whole aspect or when this whole concept of reviving this came, like as Poonam has said, it is very difficult. It was for her, and she had the support of a very good renowned fashion designer. How tedious or difficult it was for her. And I was just a person who had a background of sound, background of history and good field work. Apart from that, my knowledge about cloth and all was a big zero. But subsequently, when I got into it, I had to go to Tamil Nadu or approach the nearby weavers. One of the weavers which I tapped initially was from Karnataka. That too, I also got into it just because I did not want to make money, but I wanted this concept, to be worn by the people of Goa. Okay, because as she said, you have ilkals. If you go to that place called Ilkal, you'll find everybody wearing ilkals or bandhanis. If you go to Gujarat, you'll find everybody wearing bandhanis. But what about Goa? We don't have our own weave. So that was one thing which was there in my mind after providing those Paolum saris to these groups. And then this cluster weavers were tapped. Unfortunately, that weaver cheated on me because he started sending me Paolum products and calling them handlooms. And that too I started because there's this organization by name Pink Brigade in Mumbai. They said, you give me those whatever 60 or 70 saris you have, we'll launch them in Mumbai, and we will have a kind of a exhibition, and let's see how it moves. And that color and that that whole combination was so much appreciated that they were wanting for more. But this fellow who had told me it was handloom initially, it was handloom, then slowly started shifting to power looms. So I stopped, and then there was a pressure from this Pink Brigade who said, just carry on, let us see what you can do, we'll also chip in if you have no funds and all that. And I was in Goa. For me, traveling to Mumbai and all that was very difficult. Traveling to Karnataka, remote areas, I did it once or twice. So after that, slowly more research, more this, only with the concept in mind that I wanted this traditional weave to be seen on every seen on every lady. Okay, I'm very proud that most of you are sporting it proudly today. So then the clusters in a weaver in Tamil Nadu I got in touch with, Erode. He was a weaver who was into dyeing industry. And if you when I went there, I don't know Tamil, but I know Kannada. So there was a person who luckily could help me out. So, and he also knew Kannada. So he told me, I'm in the dyeing industry, I'm a weaver, and my hands are all gone. So, and he had asthma problems. So I showed him the weave, I showed him whether he can weave this. He said, fine, I'll do it. And the first sari what he wore was the blue one. Okay. And then slowly I was able to help that man out by chipping in funds from my salary, okay, which I was getting, and getting these 5-6 woven for 15 days. And then I said, then he said, I can't do it anymore because his hands had become so, the skin had become so bad that, actually it was bleeding. So finally he got in touch with 10 more weavers. Their wives who were working as household maids in other houses, they said, we will help. And now there is a cluster of around 16 ladies in Erode, fully functional, surviving only on this weaving, Kunbi weave. And luckily, at that time when these 16 ladies were ready, I was able to get in touch with Preeta, okay. So that she said, okay, let us collaborate, because for me it was, selling and all that is just getting too much. It's just not my cup of tea. Not being from that background. So she said, I'll help you out, and that is how, as of now, this, the what I say, Vade is slowly moving ahead. There are 35 varieties of saris which are available with them, and Zoa Baba has helped me with around 6 to 7 varieties. There's one sari which I have come across. I tried sending it to Deccan College. The results are awaited of what exactly that material was, what dyes they have used. Of course, the dye they have used is a chemical dye, but I forgot to get the sample. You feel the sample, and you can feel that the weave is, you can feel the weave, you can feel the checks. Now if I touch this, I can't feel the this, but there you can feel the checks. So I don't know how they have woven it. I'm yet to find out. Maybe Poonam could help me out with it. So it's like a weave where you can feel it. Okay, I can tell you, okay, this is the checks and this is the body, this is the checks and this is the body. Beautiful color combination which I've never seen before. I mean, very, very beautiful and striking colors they were. Rangnath Kamath laments, I remember this, that these saris were not in demand, and that is the reason why they died a sorry death. And at least from his side, he tried level best. Okay, and there was only one person who tried marketing these saris for Rangnath Kamath, though they were in loss, is Devidas Bab Palandikar. His daughter is here. Okay. And the reason why I'm citing these names is, there are many people who tried to continue this this tradition of maintaining this cultural heritage, the weave, much before I came in, and they have gone unsung. And Devidas Bab tells, Rangnath Kamath tells me, who was the master weaver, that he had around, during the last years, there were around 100 to 50 saris lying in his house. And he says, I could not do anything because there was no demand. Finally, one fine day, he came to know that, they were now being attacked by termites. And around 70 to 80, I think he said 70 to 80, 70 to 80 he could salvage, and the rest had to be thrown under the coconut tree. माडापोनावरून उडयल्यो अशी. आणि कित्याक कामार ओनली Mama Palandikar was ready to market it, but at that time there was so much of slackness there that they didn't want it. So he was showing that ते रंग काढून काढून हात सुद्धा माझे तांबडे जाताले, पण आपण लास्ट पर्यंत सोडले ना. And this good man in Madgaon would help him out. But finally he said, जेन्ना ताका एक सुद्धा साडी खपना जाली, why will he buy and why will I weave? And the weave and the sari stopped. Okay, so then this is not it. He tried organizing a society which he called it as Bardes Weavers Cooperative Society. One meeting of that society was held, and they tried to bring in funds just so that the weave could sustain. Weave as in the sari could sustain, I would say, this concept. But unfortunately, after that one meeting, the person was supposed to fund this died, or he I think he then turned back and said, "I'll paise diwpacho na." And that was his last attempt to save that. And in that letter, very interesting letter which a weaver has written, and there's a this called subaltern studies in history, where we speak about these unsung heroes. Okay, that weaver writes that on a particular given day, I think it was 1943 or 43 or 48, that there were 567 looms fully functional, weaving suit materials, okay, weaving saris and weaving Nowari kapads. And he says that if we don't save it now, okay, then from 550 it will not be far that these looms will just come to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And he said exactly 10th zale. And then I saw tears in his eyes when he said, Aksharsha hatmag modun haven bhujak ghalya. So this is how I got into the sari concept. I mean, sari this reviving or whatever you call it, replicating. This was my idea behind it, and thanks to these supporters who supported me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rohit. That was indeed kind of heart-wrenching, but also with a ray of hope we look into the future, and we are going to come to that. But now I think we're all waiting for another angle to this discussion. We've heard about the making and the remaking and losing and getting it back and all that of the sari. But from Zoambab, we want to hear, Zoambab, we would like to know for yourself and for the community. How do you and the community view this revival? What does it mean to the community, to the young members, to the old? ही साडी ही कापड आता परत करता आणि हे आणि खूप लोक वापरता beyond the borders of the community, the state. We have handloom enthusiasts who are showing so much of interest in this beautiful weave. हे तुमकां कशें दिसता हाज्या बद्दल? हें आमकां आज आयकूंक जाय. सगळे लोक रावल्यात. थँक्यू.
Good evening, everybody. Every community has its own character feature. A Kumbar will settle in a particular place where water will be available, where mud will be available, where grass will be available. Similarly, Gowda community has its own character feature with regard to food habits, with regard to its culture, with regard to its dress. Now, even with regard to culture, with regard to songs, our dialect, our beat will be totally different. Because being a labor class, whole day they work, get tired. And if they don't get a beat of dancing while singing the song, they will start dozing. So every culture, even dress code, will depend upon the community will be differs. Similarly, my community dress code, particularly the woman, is totally different. Now, particularly we used to wear, main festive color is the red color. Now, some of the ladies have one. Then morning color, certainly not black, it is blue or dark blue and light blue. When some close relatives have expired, then we used to own dark blue and distance relative light blue. So basically in our community there was no place for black color even at the time of mourning. Now the lady who has worn the sari, it is almost, this sari is almost 40 years. So I have collected from someone, it is almost 40 years. Now, this is a morning color which we are having. Now, why we used to wear the sari in a typical fashion? आम्ही गाठी घालताले, अजूनही गाठी घालतात. आणि आता hardly worn by the even Gowda community. And why? The reason we have to find out. That I will come later on. But why we used to wear the sari in a particular fashion? Up to the knee here. We are labor class. We used to work in the field. We used to work in the mountain. We used to fight sometime with the animals. We have to fight sometime with the fire. Now, if we wore the sari, the kapot like a sari, we will not be in a position to run when animal attack us. We will not be in a position to defend ourselves when we are working in the muddy water. So, typically, we have to wear the sari up to the knees. Then, we have to bend and work. If we wore the sari we wore the kapot like a sari, then our palo will fall in the muddy water. So, basically, depend upon the work, nature of work we used to do, the way we were wearing the sari. Now, Basically, the red color was a festival color, particularly during festival time, marriage time, we used to own. And other color are during morning color. Now, you might be aware, आता कोणे समज कितें वायट केलें गावडो मरतो आतां इकडे एखादें आयको येनासतलें पूण सहज गावडो हांव तरी जेन्ना मोडो वेन आय वॉज वर्किंग एट मारगांव आय ऑफन यूज टू हियर इवन एक बामणान समज वायट केलें जायत मातशें चुकलो जायत गावडो मरतो असली उतरू आयकूंक येतालीं म्हणटरी आतां गावडा हॅज बीन लुक्ड अपॉन एज अनकल्चर्ड बार्बेरीक अनसिविलायज एंड so with their culture, their tradition, their lifestyle. आनी जेन्ना खंयची कम्युनिटीक हे तरेन जेन्ना पळयतात तेन्ना ते कम्युनिटी आपल्याक कितें सगळें वायट आसा they think like that. Even I have been, when I was studying I was in 10th standard, I have been abused like called Gavada. So even the fellow, because I was studying in Ambavali in middle school, all the children were from Gavada community, most of them from Gavada community, so no problem. We used to go without even slippers. When we went to Pope John, when in 8th standard, some of the city people used to call us Ab. If you do any mistake, knowingly or unknowingly, they used to call us Ab. Magir, even when I committed a silly mistake, I was abused as a Gavada. So, Gavdas are looked upon as uncultured, barbaric, uncivilized. And we used to have a parent-teacher meeting. I used to hardly take my mother because she used to wear the kapad with neatly. So I used to take someone else just to hide out. Now, I may be proud that I am from a particular community. I still say that I am from Gavada community. That's all. And I does whatever I can so that my community can prosper, my community can come up, my community culture can be saved, my language can be saved, my people can be know about their rights, their duties. So when somebody is looked upon in a undignified manner, the wiping or destroying whatever good thing they are having is bound to be. So if the elite section of the society or the educated people are not improving themselves, जेन्ना समज कितें समज म्हणलें गावडो मरतो आनी आतां घडये एखादी आयको येनासतलें पूण in 1990s 2000 these words were common, if I am not mistaken, but I used to hear it often. So when some community is looked upon, how much powerful their dress code may be or how much powerful their culture may be. Secondly, even we used to have ambil. आणि दुसरें कितें म्हणप ambil bur to tease the Gavdas. So most of the Gavdas have given up the ambil also, though it is one of the most nutritious and healthy diet. Next, now I also a question comes to my mind. We are being addressed as Gavdas. Now, my father's birth certificate, his community is referred as Kurmi. Kurmi. It is of 1945. Now, I don't know why our dances are called as Kurmi dance. Our saris is called as Kurmi sari. Hardly a word Gavada sari is not being used. You will hear the word Kurmi sari, Gavada, not Gavada sari, or Gavada dance. Why? Because I have not gone to the roots, why it is so called. Now, our culture and the culture of the Hindu Gavdas is one the same. So our roots are same. Now, they hardly use, at least as per my knowledge, they hardly used to wear this type of sari. Only our community used to wear such type of sari. So I don't know why they have given. If they were wearing the sari, then why they have given up? Why only Christian Gavdas? Wherever we were settled, even Mapsa, Bicholi, Pedne, even Pedne, there are 2-3 families from Gavada communities. Wherever they settled, the women folk used to wear such type of sari. And this is basically a cotton sari which is friendly to the climate of Goa. Cotton, very, very smooth, this thing. Now, if the sari to be, even in 2014, when we organized Dalo festival, when some of the youth who were joined shipping, they hesitated to send their mother with the kapad on the dance floor. So we have to struggle. So such instances takes place. Now this sari, in order to prosper, our mental setup has to be changed. I am trying my level best. Even I told my group, if you don't want to wear the sari in a dainty form, you at least wear the sari in a sari form, so that our sari can be prosper, it can be marketed again. And from 1990, it has a slow death. Even my mother used to wear this sari. Most of the community, elderly ladies used to wear the sari. And see, even our unmarried daughters or unmarried girls used to wear a palo. A kapad is being made into two pieces, and up to here, up to the waist they used to wear. And here there are songs to that effect. कापड अनिक चोळी कळबावडीनी आऊं आंकवार देखून मेवणी बावडो सेपराद हो पोट कड़ग मगरा बोको बावडो सेपराद हो पोट कड़ग मगरा बोको बाये निद गान योगा मुझ बोगले को मकारांदू उठो उचाको. Now everywhere there are references in our folk songs, in our Dalo songs, in our Itrumesh songs. There are references to the saris or आमगे कापड. आनीक म्हाका तरी दिसता आमची कापड हें फुलचें आनीक एक गोंयांतल्यान सगळ्यांनी आपणावचें अशें तरी म्हाका दिसता. पूण कित्याक म्हाका अशें दिसून आयलां की आमची कम्युनिटी तरी जेन्ना लोक गावडे मरताय किकोतशे करपाक बंद जावपाना, तो मेरेन गावडी लोक आसात ते वो कुळमी लोक आसात ते ही साडी आपणायशी म्हाका तरी आजून म्हाका विश्वास बसना. आनी हीच एक खंत दिसता म्हाका. जो मेरेन गोंयच्या जे इंटलेक्च्युअल लोक आसात तांचे बाबतीन तांची मेंटल सेटअप एटिट्यूड गावड्या बाबतीन जो मेरेन बदलना, तो मेरेन खंय तरी उदरगत जातली अशी गावड्यान तरी मदें आपणायतले अशी म्हाका दिसपाक मातशें डिफिकल्ट लागता. पूण बरे दीस जातले अशीच आशा बाळगुया.
थँक्यू जुआम बाब, तुम्ही तुमच्या मनातले सगळे आमकां सांगलें. आनी आमी बी आशा बाळगिता की ही कापड खूब लोकां मेरेन पावुनी. दॅट वी होप दॅट दिस साडी द गावडा कापड reaches to a larger population in its journey forward. So as we are coming towards the end of our discussion, a very, very quick round once again with our speakers. Poonam, Rohit, I would like to ask you for your vision for this sari. What is your, Poonam, you can.
I still dream of setting up that handloom training center and reviving the traditional Kunbi sari in Goa by training local people to weave. Weaving of the Kunbi sari is a cultural craft heritage of Goa. There used to be thriving communities of weavers who wove the sari worn by the indigenous tribes. This sustainable, non-polluting historical craft practice provided livelihoods to almost entire villages. We need to revive this industry. There are successful handloom weaving organizations operating all across the country, and it can very well be achieved in Goa if people take the initiative. The Goan sari deserves to be, and by all means should be, woven in Goa to preserve a traditional culture while generating revenue for Goan artisans. Reviving the craft from scratch is a long road. It will build up slowly as there are no existing Kunbi weavers, but with the right planning and perseverance, it can be done. An efficiently running handloom training center can help empower and improve the lives of rural people by imparting training in handloom weaving skills. Weaving can become a profitable and fulfilling and sustainable income earning activity while reviving the languishing Kunbi textiles. Authentic saris woven in Goa can be made available for sale in the market. A well-founded business model with self-reliant weavers can be structured. The step-by-step method of the many number of times proposals that I have written to various organizations. The training center requires allocation of workshop space and making the necessary modifications to it, hiring master weavers from neighboring states, relocating them to Goa for the entire duration of the setup and training. The weavers at Paliyam can be involved in the training, procurement or construction of appropriate handlooms, accessories and equipment, procurement of consumables, yarn and dyeing. What happens with the making of the looms and all when I work with the weaver, I realize that the entire community that is supported is, there is a carpenter who knows how the loom operates. So every time the loom has a problem, then we call the carpenter and then he comes and repairs it. Not people who are not aware of, the maist who's not aware of how a loom is repaired. So this sort of a community, the weaving also gave livelihoods to others connected, like the carpenters. Then the raw material will need to be procured. Yarn and dyeing needs to be done. There are, I've found weavers. There was the trade that happened between Belgaum. The dyed thread used to come from Belgaum eventually, and mobilizing women and men to learn the skill and provide training to them, inculcating quality control, designing the sari, developing the sari and its production. I think we need to do a little more research about the sari as well, like the saris which I saw with the Gauda community. The saris were thick. They reminded me of the Kotpad saris from Orissa, which are dyed red in aal, and that was the thickness of the sari, which I did not see after that. So I think the sari there could have been two types of saris. Like the sari, because it was supposed to be worn in the fields for working. I think that the way the thicker sari, the cotton sari, the way that draped and the way that hung on the body was much more compact, and because I wore it myself the way that they were, the thicker one, and I felt very free to be just like, running around or doing whatever I wanted to do in it, which I feel probably in the thinner one could be a little bit of a restraint. So I feel that there could be some that were kept for weaving in the fields, and then there were some which were probably kept for like maybe going to the market or something like that. So yeah, I would like to look into that a little more. Then it would take about 2 years for the setup of a handloom training center, and to be actually able to train a few people to weave good quality saris, traditional saris. When the artisans are properly trained, the looms can be installed at their homes, and or they can be a community production unit. To start with, it can be a small one, and then at a central location. Ultimately, the project can be made self-sustainable, and the funding for such things is out there, and I have the proposals ready as well. But to get the funding, an organization structured and authorized to receive it must get involved. That is a registered NGO or a non-profit organization. For example, there is Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and Environment in Bangalore that apparently are quite flush with funds, and they give small grants with the right environmental credentials as the Kunbi weaving can have, it stands a very good chance, which is rural employment, organic cotton, natural dyes, traditional heritage craft signifying cultural identity, and handloom weaving. The government also has various monetary schemes to encourage handloom weaving, which can be availed. Wendell's revival sari was the first step. Dr. Falgaonkar's revival sari is the second leap. The third giant leap has to be to weave the traditional sari in Goa where it belongs, and in doing so, providing livelihoods to Goan artisans and to get the tribes to be wearing it proudly once again. I'm glad that finally the Kunbi Sari has been discussed here on this very relevant platform provided by the Goa Heritage Action Group and by Sunapranta. I hope this leads to serious involvement for reviving the weaving of the Kunbi Sari in Goa. Thank you.
Thank you, Poonam, for your thoughts. Rohit?
For me, as I've said it before, for me, this sari, there are two aspects I look at it. One is the handloom. Okay, you have the handloom industry coming up, as she has rightly said, it has to be woven here once again, because she's rightly looking it at from a different perspective. From my perspective, I would see this. I would be happy, more than happy, if the Adivasi community themselves, sport this sari, and then they'll be able to connect it. There was a time when आमी हे नेस्ताले आमचे कडेन आशिल्ली हे when Zuan Bab has also helped me in distributing these saris, over 50 to 60 saris, am I right, Zuan Bab, to his community members. So he invited me once for the festival, Adivasi festival in Kepe, and I was very happy. Even these ladies who are wearing, there's this lady who had come from Kepe, Kepe, yes, and as we were moving around the stall, she said somebody told her that this sari I windle. She thought I was a weaver. So when she said that बरें जावं तुजें की तूं तेंपान आमी साडी कापड चोयल जाणा खरेंच बरें दिसलें म्हाका. These words of hers, they being a Goan and fixed my legs into this soil. म्हणजे सामकी म्हाका मातये कडेन जे उमेद आसा न्ही ते शब्द आयकतकीर कानांतल्यान म्हणजे आनी मनांतल्यान आमकां असो घाम सुटलो म्हणपाचो काय आनंदाचे आश्रू आयले. आय डोंट नो वेदर टियर्स केम इन माय आयज बिकॉज आय वॉज हॅपी or I was also sweating. Her whole, that the way she said it, and she was wearing it. And she said that the dua sati tikai and all that. So that connect, is very important to establish for me. The second thing is, if we have to do that, as of now, a few days back he contacted me, ani asa kapda kiwa wintati, but the handloom sector is not viable for this sari to be going to these people back. Okay, of course I endorse handlooms and I'm completely for handloom industry, like Poonam is. I realized the importance of handlooms only because of this sari. Otherwise I did not know what was a handloom and a powerloom. Now at least I have some knowledge of how to identify a handloom sari and a non-handloom sari, especially this one. So this is one way, and other way is also, whether when these saris will be worn by these people again, by the community itself. Okay, that is the time, I will say that, okay, it has reached the right destination. Okay, so that is my vision for it. की ही परत तांचे कडेनच पावपा जाय, आनी तांचे कडेन पावतना when it goes to them, ती बाकीच्या कडेन पावची. पूण पयलीं ती तांचे कडेन पावपा जाय. आज सद्या कितें जालें, तांचे कडेन ना. They are, as he said, they are not very readily accepting it. Some are now, and ती सगळ्या कडेन पावले is very good, because at least ती बाकीच्या पळोवन तरी ती न्हेसतली. पूण तांचे कडेन पावपा जाय, तांचे कडेन पावतकीर मागीर ती सगळ्या कडेन पावली अशी म्हाका दिसतली, and that time I will be very happy. So that is how I look at it. Maybe it's a power loom or a handloom, but of course it should go to the community back. So this is my vision, and I may be not right in saying so, that to powerloom म्हणतात, handloom कसं म्हणतात आणि हे powerloom, but no, but this is way I look at it, because आता सद्याक ताची किंमत आहा ती, it is not affordable for the community to own it. Okay, that's because of various factors, as she has also pointed it out rightly. The dye is involved and the workmanship is involved, and it is being woven elsewhere and it is brought here. There are too many things involved in it. So this is where I look at it, Preeta.
थँक्यू रोहित. जो बाब तुम्ही आणि म्हणटाले.
म्हाका दिसता की आमची सारी रिवायज जावची अशी म्हणून. आतां रिवायज आतां पयलीं आमी कितें करताले, जेन्ना काजर आसता जाल्यार स्पेशल म्हापसा वचून एक डझन तरी हें घेताले कापडां वेगवेगळी कलराची, मागीर ती सोयऱ्यां दिवप. इवन जेन्ना एका आमगेले वराक व्हंकलनवऱ्यार बेलसां बसयता तेन्ना तेजे फांदार बी कापड घालप व्हंकलेच्या. पूण आतां तशें जायना. आतां कापडां बंद पडल्यान ती बळ्ळीं, पूण आतां लोक सगळे पॉलिस्टर यूज करपाक लागल्यात. दुसरी गजाल, सिन्स 1994 our months were in progress, and our ladies in full fledged used to wear these sarees, but some narrow minded people, I call them narrow minded, without studying the culture, has criticized our culture. Our culture is termed as aramel. Our even beat is called as aramel. Aramel means ranvoti ranarabi. They have criticized and see that our culture has been destroyed or stopped. So when culture was in progress, the sari was in demand. Now annually we organize a tribal festival, and at that time around 10 to 12 groups participate. Only on that occasion they wore the sari, otherwise nobody is seen. Only when some cultural events are there, even while organizing felicitation program, we force some of the ladies to give the prizes to wear our sari. If not in neatly form, at least in the sari form. So if Goan community as a whole accepted the sari, then certainly maybe our community will attract towards this. Now the further question is that it is very costly now. If you analyze the sari, it is totally environment friendly as far as Goan environment is concerned. And we hardly realize the importance of this sari. Like Ambil, what I have already stated. Ambil very, very environment friendly. If you have Ambil, you will not feel cold. You will not have this thing warm. Very cold, very nutritious. But somebody criticized, that's why we have given up. Even you will not have, not see this thing Nachne. Nobody is cultivating Nachne. Forget about Gauda community who are concentrated among the cities. But even our tribal communities like Veli, Gaonka, they also do not cultivate Nachne. Though they are very nutritious, very healthy, very cheap. So there's a mass revolution as far as Gauda sari is concerned. And if we realize the importance, at least educated people from our community feel more shy. I may be the exception. So unless and until educated people aware or become conscious of the importance of this sari, then suddenly the sari will prosper. And I have a collection of almost 15 saris. Now still collection is under process, because I have got some photographs where I noticed a good sari when they were in our Dalu festival. I approached them and kept it for my collection. So I hope that our sari will revive again and will have a better future in the Mother Earth of Goa.
Thank you so much, Zoambab, for sharing your thoughts on this. So now we come to the end of our panel discussion. We could just take maybe one or two questions.
I don't have any questions as such. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Mozina Fernandez, and I'm from the Gauda community. And I have recently done my PhD on the topic Christian Gauda Women Culture and Image in Goa, wherein I have brought out all this of dress, of songs, and the culture of the Gauda community, and especially the Christian Gauda community from Kepe and Veli. What Advocate John has pointed out is correct. In the study, I found out that this sari was not worn by the people and women. In some houses, I found it, women have kept it in the trunk. and preserved it. And they say, like, we are ashamed of using this sari in our day-to-day life, because our children are also ashamed of wearing the sari. And they have only preserved it as Advocate John has pointed out, for cultural programs and so on. Some even say that, they are very ashamed. And this is even 40 years old, when I had interviewed some men. But my study was basically with women, but with the exception of few, I had also interviewed men. So they said, even my son of this age is now still ashamed of his mother being wearing the sari. And they have just left wearing this sari. And this I found in 2 places of Kepe and Veli. I found some groups were proud of women they were wearing the sari, some. But still, those were in dance group also. When I interviewed them personally and I went and I asked them, they said, yeah, for dance purpose we wear. But in normal life, we are seen as uncivilized. If we wear it, we will be identified as Gaudas. So we don't wear it. So this whole revival, I support in the sense this revival, but I don't know who is reviving for whom. And even this sari which was revived, it was out of the, people could not even buy it, or some people, most of the women whom I interviewed said they were not even aware about this revival of the sari. So when this whole process of reviving the sari comes, we need to look at who will wear the sari. Is it the community? Will it be beneficial for the community? And how we will come out of this stigmatization that has to be looked into. I don't know what are the reasons or what are the suggestions to come out of this. But yeah, so when I look at it, I always have in my mind that stigmatization. So on one hand, we we praise that this is the Gauda sari, and on the other hand, I found my community people who are trying to hide this sari. So I look at this, and this I have found out in my thesis that this whole process of Gaudization of Goa, wherein the symbols, the dress, the songs of the community are being used to showcase the identity. So I have found this as the whole process wherein the Gauda symbols are being depicted as the identity, which is in fact a good sign for the community, but at the same time, it holds me back and holds the community back of the stigmatization of this sari. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I'm Arvind Antong. I'm the retired director of Handloom and Textile, Ministry of Textiles. Of course, I was in IST Salem, and there's always one seat reserved for Goans every year. And I personally used to come in, I would request, people from the Gauda community at least to come and be trained in Salem. But finally we used to get every year one student. And I used to see that every project would be on Kunbi sari. But it happened that they used to just come, they used to tell me, sir, there is no loom. Or they used to take some specifications and they come back. Of course, that was and I, being a government, I had a transfer to Assam, where I saw the similar Kunbi sari with the Kasi tribes. Exactly, they dress same checks, all this thing, they still wear it. Now when it comes to the mineral, you were saying about organic dyes. Now if you see during the World Wars, the minerals colors were available. The mineral khaki, all the military uniforms were made from minerals. Then later on, the black color also is from mineral sulfur. So what I feel, since the sari has got something with the laterite soil of Goa, and iron oxide also is one of these for mineral khaki, iron oxide was used. And there's iron in Goa. So I feel that there is something has to do with the mineral of Goa where the sari was colored. Now regarding indigo blue, it was not there because indigo yarns, because I had a lot of Kunbi people working with me. I never found the indigo rubbing fastness poor. Their blue saris were very powerful. And even in washing, they were not bleeding. Even the red color doesn't bleed. So it cannot be synthetic. If it was, there was a Congo red color, which was available those days, which was red in color. But what is to happen, if any vinegar falls on it, it will turn blue. But I've seen it was not happening. So even I have now, I want to do research or find out what is the color was. And I personally feel it has to do with the minerals of Goa, or maybe chilies, or maybe, you were telling the third sari, the name was what? The third sari?
The blue one. Salapuri.
Yeah,
They called
maybe
it
from
Salapuri.
Solan.
No, they called it Salapuri just because of the fact that they then sourced it from Solapur.
Not from Solan?
No.
Okay.
Because the sari the weaving had stopped.
Okay, what about Ambade? You were saying Ambade.
Ambade suit. Ambade is a kind of a...
No, was it from that?
No, Ambada is not the Ambada what we eat, the hog plums.
Okay.
This is a kind of a thread which is sourced from, it is grown near Raigad.
Okay.
Near the Raigad.
No, have you come any research where the mineral colors were?
No, that is what the only source, and he who could give information about this, because whenever I went, it was more like said that mineral colors were used, and I also have a strong feeling that mineral colors were used initially.
Yeah.
But the only source who says that Ranganath Kamath, the master weaver, he says that no, I never used mineral colors in my lifetime, organic colors. It was only those colors which came from Macau, and he even showed some bottles of those chemical colors. And he told me that while dyeing, it was creating such a nuisance that the fumes would prevent him from eating food for next 3 or 4 days. And even when he would take those the material, the saris to the Madgaon, he would have all red color for around 2 or 3 months on his hand. So that bad was that chemical color. So he said it was not an easy job. Weaving was okay. Weaving was no issue. But that dyeing itself...
I'm basically textile colorist and I have research on this.
Maybe, I don't know.
But the way you are saying it's correct, but to get red, the way you are saying Macau, to get a red color, you require 2 different chemicals. Of course, you get a lot of fumes, nitrous oxide
Correct.
fumes. But you cannot get directly red color from Macau. You have 2 different colors, which we first develop it on that. It could be that. But then the rubbing fastness is very poor of those colors. That's why I'm also a bit confused. Unless I get the sari, I can test it chemically.
So original sari of that, I asked him whether you have the older sari versions. He has some swatches, but he says these are all chemical dyes. But the original one,
Yeah, chemical dyes coming from Belgaum.
Yeah.
I've seen
He
them.
said आम्ही थंयच्यान माकावच्यान ते येताले, and then it was used by us. And I would just like to add to doctors this, the culture is diminishing so fast, at a very fast pace. Even he will agree. They have beautiful jewelry, and like the way you wear the bangles, there is a sequence of wearing bangles. Even that concept they have. One of the remnants of that jewelry is seen in her neck, the old lady's neck she's wearing. And apart from that, there was Karabo, Bugod, my Fatfode Kakana, Mukalfode Kakana, and all these, then Kalayo. Kalayo were not gold bangles or, glass bangles. Glass bangles have come now. And now they don't even know what is Kalayo, except for a few elderly people. Kalay मला कळटल्यो पण कळायमध्ये कोणाक खबर ना आमी काचेची कांकणां घालता म्हणटा ते काचेची कांकणां घालनाशिल्ली काचेची कांकणां कित्याक घालनाशिल्ली ती काच घाल्यार फुट्टा काम करतना सो मेटल बँगल्स वर वोन एंड दे वूड गिव अ ब्युटिफूल टिंगलिंग सावंड आतां सॅम्पलां सुद्दां पळोवपा ना जॉन विकली So this is how that that develops. So if you ask the children now, they will say, "Hey, आम काचे काकणे घालता, आमी कोण सांगतो कळाय घालता म्हणतो."
इवन
This is
वाटी
what
बी
has
आशिल्ल्यो
happened.
वाटी जेवपा वाटी आसता पसून लोकांनी जेन्ना फेर बी येता तेन्ना विकल्यो आतां थोड्यो वाटी म्हजे कडेन 2-3 कितें वाटी आसतल्यो म्हळ्यार जें कितें आहा तें पयलें स्टिग्मा जेन्ना उरता तेन्ना असली इन्सिडंट जाताच आनीक आपल्या समज आपूण प्रावड ना जाल्यार दीस इन्स्टंट जाता तशें आनी जेन्ना कॉन्स्टंट क्रिटिसिजम जाता We may be, once upon a time, we may be the ruler. Subsequently, we may fall in opposition. Now the fate of MG, like the fate of Gowda community may be in Goa. So Gowda has to be destroyed, their culture has to be destroyed. That may be the mental setup. Now it is a good sign that we are thinking of reviving.
Yeah. Excuse me, I have a question. What were the men wearing? I mean, what was being woven for the men? It's not necessary that women have to always be the bearers of culture and tradition. So was the Kumbi sari also woven as a fabric that was then made into clothing for men? And was the fabric ever traded? Because, I mean, there was a big trade mainly of checked fabrics. We know of the Madras checks that were traded to Africa. So was this fabric ever traded to places in other parts of the world?
As far as Gowda men are concerned, they used to wear kasti, basically kasti. And on occasion, they used to tie a towel.
Please.
Kasti they used to have on the head also, and for occasion they used to tie a towel. That towel bantale thode se. Anik they used to have banyan, basically, and during Itrumej festival, ladies were not having the role, but ladies' role was played by the gents by wearing the sari of the ladies.
Also, there is no reference of any trade because as it has been highlighted that it was restricted to a community. So there was nobody who was willing to take it to them, okay, other than the community. And the community, because it was a cultural identity, they were wearing it. So there was no trade happening.
So there was some similarity between the checks of the kasti or the lace and the checks of the sari as well, because that's also a red and white check, and this was also the lace is also what the weaver at Palier, the one that I'm working with, he is also weaving, and yeah, there's a diminishing marking for that. It is the loincloth that they used to wear, and the similarity between the sari and the kasti is it's a similar red and white check that is going on. That's also red. That also has white. And sometimes the size of the square of the check is also pretty similar to the one that is in the sari. So at one point I also was, thinking that it is probably the slightly more dense construction of the lace that the men wear was converted into the sari that the women are wearing by making it a little more dense.
But kasti has zero twist.
Yeah.
Kasti is a 20 singles, yes.
But twist,
No
Is a
twist.
20 singles. So originally, I feel like the Kunbi saris, the Vendel Kunbi sari revival that we did, that is also a 20 singles, and it works. For singles means without twist. When it's twisted, it is absorbent. It is soft. It is perfect for Goan climate. Yes, yes. The saris that I saw with the Gaur community in Delhi, where Dr. Mozina took me to, actually, this is 12 years back, they were not twisted. They were thicker, they were 20s count, but they were slightly more dense than the kasti.
And you were telling me about the raised effect.
The raised effect could have been,
You allow more weft yarn, maybe technically.
yes,
You allow more weft yarn and then it beat.
yes,
So when we beat the circumference covering becomes higher.
yes.
So you get a feel of it.
Okay.
It depends on the beating. We throw the shuttle. I think you throw shuttles or what shuttle?
They are throw shuttles. They are the shuttles, yeah, with the pull and throw.
What you throw.
Yeah.
So when you throw, what happens? You throw higher than 300 so that the coverage is more. So the weft yarn remains on the top and you get the raised.
Yeah. Oscar.
Okay, with that we come to the end of a very, very insightful conversation and a discussion. It's time to say thank you. So I have to thank, on behalf of GHAG, the Goa Heritage Action Group, we profusely thank our panelists for this evening. Poonam, Jean-Bab, Rohit, thank you so much for giving your time and so much of information and insight into this wonderful aspect of Goan culture and tradition. We really, really hope that this conversation today sets a path which we all are hoping for the sari, for our cultural, our culture and tradition. I'm sure this will go a long way in, bringing back that bright spot into the Goan canvas. Thank you so much. We thank Sunaprant for agreeing to partner in our talk series. This has been the inaugural talk, and we look forward to bringing you many more meaningful dialogues on this platform, and we hope to have you with us. It was wonderful working with the Sunaprant team, Leandre, Nilima, Justina, and the support staff. Thank you so much. We are so indebted to our performers this evening. We have Inasin Bai. It was so regaling to see them up there. Inasin Bai, Blazia Bai, Koisam Bai, and Catherine Bai. देव बरें करूं तुमचें मुद्दाम आयलीं तुमी हांगा. We thank Roshan Matthias for the videography. The masks that you have been handed out today, thank you to the Heritage Network for sponsoring these. These have been made by Folk Living. Folk Living is a group which offers experiential learning through village trails and promotes local heritage in our villages. To know more about them, we have Mansi here. You can have a word with her. Our volunteers who helped us set this up. And the last but not the least, thank you for coming, for the audience, for being such a good audience, and for all the lovely ladies who've made an effort to wear their kapods this evening. Thank you so much. And I hope you have enjoyed the evening. Thank you.
रोसिगाळोतो कणकोणीचे झिंगाबाई झिंगा हेळोतो आंबो पिकोतो रोसिगाळोतो कणकोणीचे झिंगाबाई झिंगा हेळोतो फी गडाफी फी गडाफी फी गडाफी दोये पिपळा तांबडे फुला गोपा दोन फातोर मारसुंदीरा दोये पिपळा तांबडे फुला गोपा दोन फातोर मारसुंदीरा फी गडा